Hi everyone, and welcome to Adobe Live. We are coming live from the land of the Dharawal people and pay respects to elders past, present, and future. We have a bit of a different type of stream today. So it's Adobe Photoshop's 35th birthday, and we thought we would do something a little bit fun. And so rather than asking our guests to show us tips and tricks and use the software and things like that, we thought we would do a fun little quiz show. So I've put together a little quiz show with some of our friends, Joy Chiang, Jeremy Lord, and Dale Bigeni. How you doing, guys?
Good.
That's not the enthusiasm that I need for a quiz show, but you know, it's a good start. Thank you, Dale. So why don't we go around the room? We'll just introduce ourselves, except for me. But Dale, you can kick off because you jumped in straight away, which I love. Who you are and just a little bit about what you do before we get... actually, you know what? Could you tell us the first time you used Photoshop, if you can remember?
I can remember, and I think it was when I was in year 12, which is 2002. I was using Photoshop 7, and I do remember being at home and not having any clue what I was doing, but I knew that I was going to learn it, and here I am going to do the quiz.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see how we go. No pressure. And Joy, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. Hi everyone, I'm Joy. I'm an artist based in Melbourne. I think the first time I used Photoshop was similar, like year 11, year 12 for visual communications. And then that would have been 2004. And I don't know what version that is, but it's definitely, like what Dale said, like you log in, you're like, what is this? And I remember just looking at the filters and going, wow, this is so cool. I don't even have to do anything. And my images look so fun and creative. And then, that's probably the first time using it.
Awesome. And Jeremy?
Hey man. So look, I'm probably the senior resident here. I probably started with Photoshop in like 1996, maybe.
Oh, okay.
My mum was at the time like big on adopting new tech and stuff, and got us one of the first like Mac multimedia computer. It's like that word that's kind of lost its meaning of like this thing you can like watch DVDs on it. You can do the internet. It's like multimedia. We started on that, and just like Joy said, it was just like, oh man, filters, take photos of all my friends and just print them out with all the different filters in there and just like mess around with that. I'd say probably version like 4 or 5 or something.
Oh wow, yeah. Some of these dates and versions might actually be in the quiz, so it's good. Maybe you guys will have some advantages there. I feel way behind actually. I don't think I touched Photoshop until I went to design school. I really remember it quite vividly because I was terrible, like so bad at it. You know how you adopt some programs. Photoshop did not jive with me, I think, until well after design school. So, but now we spend a lot of time, I think the majority of our live streams will use Photoshop in some way. It's very heavily tied into like a lot of Firefly stuff at the moment, although a lot of the video stuff just came out, which is pretty cool. I think Photoshop has a very special spot in a lot of designers' hearts, or at least in their workflow. All right, here we go. So the way this works is it's a traditional like Australian pub quiz, and as I was putting this together, I'm like, is this a very Australian thing, the pub quiz? I know we do it throughout Australia, but I just don't know if it translates very well, so I'll just explain it for some of our like international audiences. But basically a pub quiz is you usually do it on a night that's not very busy, like a Monday or Tuesday night, to get you to come to the pub, and then someone will walk around and they'll do trivia based on whatever, and it's a bit of a honor system in that you just kind of tally up your answers, and then you sort of hand it in, I got this one right, and you get to kind of discuss it. We'll be individual today because we don't have teams or anything like that, but that's basically how we're going to work. So we'll just kind of tally our points at the end and see how we go. You guys ready to start?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yep.
All right, here we go. Let's see if I've done my job correctly. You guys should be able to see this screen. Did you see this first question come up, everyone?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right, this is number one. I'll give you guys like 30 seconds, 45 seconds to think about it. We'll just wait till everyone's kind of picked one. This is a bit of hopefully a bit of an obvious one to start off with, just to make sure everything works. It says, what year was the first version of Adobe Photoshop released? And I'm going to assume that everyone's kind of going to have a pretty decent guess. And also in chat, you can throw it in as well if you have a guess. If you'd like to throw in the guess, I'll kind of leave a little bit of time if you want to play at home. But yeah, I think we'll move on from this one now. I think everyone's probably happy with that. Too many buttons. Where are we? That's right. So 1990. It is Adobe Photoshop's 35th birthday. It always like weirds me out. I was like, oh, it must be 1985, right? But no, sadly. 1990, like always find that 2000 thing, you add like 10 years or something, makes me feel old.
How's the icon on that?
How
Looks
sick
like
is that?
Sick pizza shop.
It's so good. Look at the Photoshop down. I don't know if you guys can see it super well, but like PHOTO then SHOP, like that's so like graphic design right now. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I was gonna say this graphic looks like nearly every merch design that's going out at the moment. So
Right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
back in.
bring the 90s back.
Yeah.
It's all come full circle. So yeah, there you go. And obviously it, has that very, like, I think you were talking about the early Macs, Jeremy, as well. It has that, it definitely has that look. So there you go. That's the format, guys. Let's see how we go. I've also used Firefly to help me with some of these images until I ran out of credits. I went a bit feral with it. So, so this is what was Photoshop originally called before Adobe acquired it, and we got Photo Edit, Pixel Perfect, Display, or DigiPaint. I'm trying to remember what the prompt was, but I think I wanted someone in the 80s or early 90s using like obscure design software. And this is what we got.
Flynn, did you use a photo as reference? Because that looks like you.
It does actually look a lot like me. With
100%.
if I had my glasses on, it totally would, right? Yeah, no, I didn't. I think I just have a generic side face.
This is a total guess for me. I actually had no idea that Photoshop was a thing before Adobe acquired it. I thought
Right.
it was, like born into existence under Adobe.
I've learned so much from putting this quiz together. I seem like I know the answers because I've already done the answers, but most of the stuff I didn't know. Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
I feel like it's between B or D for me, but I'm trying to. I feel like I heard an old exec talk about it, like when they were talking about acquiring Adobe, like when we were at the Max conference 2 years ago. And I feel like, but they all sound so similar. It's like Pixel Perfect, DigiPaint. I feel like it's one of those, but I could be wrong.
I got no idea. I'm just guessing. Full wing.
Yeah.
Taking a guess. Okay, at the end of this one, when we move on, we'll see who got it and what your answer was. So, okay, well let's move along.
Oh, okay.
Ah,
Oh,
Right?
man.
Really? Just
Isn't that crazy?
just
Fancy.
display.
That's super uncreative. I just gotta
yeah.
say, like,
And where are we? Number 2. Yeah. So the
like-
earliest version
I
of the
like that this
software.
photo has a third hand in it of a dude just doing a thumbs up.
Thank you very much for
Hand.
noticing. Thank you very much. Yeah. So I used Firefly. I was like, oh, I wanted them to turn and do the meme like of thumbs up.
Yeah.
But then I left
Yeah.
the reference image in, and so it just thumbs up over the top. And I thought I'd leave it in because it was a bit silly.
at least it's another person's arm instead of the same
It is,
sleeve.
yeah.
Right.
Or is
Yeah.
it?
It's not coming out of the
It's
chest.
improving.
I also like that's how my desktop currently looks as well.
Right.
Yeah, with all windows open.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I have like 80,000 tabs open with like Firefly and like images from the internet just to put this like slideshow together. So yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, so the earliest version of the software was called Display, and it was soon renamed to Image Pro down the track.
Wow.
So there you go.
All right.
Next one. What is the name of the default checkerboard pattern that appears when an image has transparency? We've got transparent grid, pixel grid, ghost mode, or alpha pattern.
You've done a good job coming up with like 3 other answers that could be the thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thank you. Yeah, I've definitely tried to do that. I want them to kind of sound like they could be.
Cuss.
But also, from now on, it's only called ghost mode.
Yeah,
I
For
quite
sure.
like that.
I'm in ghost
100%.
mode.
yeah. All right. Well, I think everyone's. Yep. Okay. It is transparent.
Ah, man.
Transparent.
I did wishful thinking. I put in ghost mode.
Oh, ghost mode. Yeah. So yeah, and then John Cena's there because he's invisible. So I got a bit lazy with some of the
Apparently he
assisted
speaks Chinese.
images. What was that?
Apparently he speaks Chinese.
Really?
Yeah.
Like he's really big on selling this chili oil.
What? Oh my gosh.
Like apparently he loves his Chinese chili, and then he can say it in Chinese, and it's amazing.
Oh wow. Is
I
he
think
big
there's
in
a
the is
movie-
wrestling like big in the Chinese market?
I don't know. I feel like because of his love for this chili sauce, that
Yeah.
now China's like, yeah, we will take him.
Wow. And I guess he's more of an actor now than a wrestler anyway, but
Yeah, true.
Oh, that's cool. All right. There you go. Extra point for Joy for a fun fact.
Oh, man.
Which company was the first to license Photoshop before Adobe bought it? We've got Apple, Microsoft, Xerox, or Barney Scan.
Is Barney Scan a real company?
No comment. No comment.
Another reference image.
Yeah, I kind of kept with someone at their desk
Yeah, nice.
in this period of time, and he's watching a business deal happen.
With like scaffolding behind the business deal?
And also, does
Buildings
he
is
have
business.
a razor? He's got a razor to shave his beard on the side there. Is that what that is?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
That's the Barney Scan mouse version
Yeah.
3.
Right. Yeah. All right, let's move on. Let's see. It's Barney Scan.
Oh,
Wow.
man.
Isn't that crazy?
That was Barney Scan.
I had never heard of Barney Scan before this.
Neither
Right?
have I.
It's a Berkeley and California-based company called Barney Scan, which created and sold the first high-quality 24-bit desktop computer scanner.
Wow.
Okay.
See, we learn things on Adobe Live, don't we?
Do they still exist?
I don't know. I'd never heard of them. I'd heard of Apple before, but no, not Barney Scan. So there you go. I just love this image, so there's a bigger version of it. Which famous Hollywood movie used Photoshop for visual effects in the early 90s? Jurassic Park, Terminator 2, The Matrix, or Independence Day? The reference image is what Firefly believes all those movies put together might look like.
I'd watch that
Yes.
movie.
How do they use Photoshop for visual effects?
It's a good
Like,
question. I didn't dig
By
that deep.
like image by image? They just like manually edit movements?
It's a good
of
question.
the- I'm just trying to get my head around it.
They just put filters, remember? They just
Yeah.
put little filters.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
filter,
Yeah.
add dinosaurs.
Sequence. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. All right, we're ready to move on, I think.
All right.
Terminator 2.
Filters,
Jeremy,
the filters.
seem happy with that. I didn't have a meme for that. It's just a sick movie with Arnie on it. So that's what's happening there.
It was a trick question because Matrix came out in like 99, didn't it?
Yeah, and it was early 90s, wasn't it? So there you go.
Yeah.
Terminator grossed 78.3 million worldwide. Terminator 2 Judgment Day grossed 519 million worldwide.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
the best sequel ever.
So
Big
did you know
Barney.
that the "I'll be back" line was improv? Like it was not in the script.
I think that's in the documentary
Yeah,
with
yeah,
Arnie,
yeah.
right? Yeah, I didn't know it
Yeah.
until then though, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So there you go. Extra point for Jeremy for another fun fact. What's the shortcut to quickly reset the foreground and background colors to black and white? And I didn't mess with you guys on this one, and I really, really thought about it. I was going to do A, B, B, X, C, D, and then D, R. But I thought that would be a bit too cruel. So there's a bit of a guess if you don't know it. I guess if you do know it, it's probably you probably know it very well. It is D. There you go. I didn't know that.
I'm so bad with shortcuts.
Yeah, me too. Did
Probably
you guys
like
know
the
that
only-
instinctively, Dale and Jeremy?
That's probably the only one I know, to be honest.
It's one of those discovered by accident by fat fingering my keyboard.
Yeah. Nice. What tool in Photoshop is named after an actual darkroom photography technique? This is a real technique that exists in photography.
I know this because the icon for the tool is the same as the tool that's actually used for this.
Right.
Okay.
And this is leftover Jurassic Park content in a Lightroom doing a business deal. So we're getting pretty meta with
Dino deals.
Making deals. It is dodge and burn.
Yeah. So the little lollipop thing. I learned this in college. You're doing like photography in a darkroom. It's literally just a piece of black paper on a stick. And when you expose the photo to like dodge it, you literally just like hover your stick over the exposing light to like leave that area just a little bit darker. And you just kind of just do it as a gradient. And it's this little the stick with a black circle attached to it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
There you go.
You learn something new every day.
All right. Next one. What is the official file extension for a Photoshop project file?
I feel like this is a trick question.
Or is it? Okay. Everyone has no objections? Okay. It is PSD. PDT can refer to a printer definition table, so type of printing file. PSX is used for Sony PlayStation 1. And PDF we all know as portable document format. So there we go. PSD is a good old Photoshop file. What is the maximum number of layers a Photoshop file can have?
There's a maximum?
There's a maximum.
I didn't even know how to maximum.
I only need one. I just work on one layer.
Photoshop has layers?
I'm that good. I've never heard that. I'm just going to assume. Isn't it be wrong?
Okay. Let's find out. 8,000.
What? Why such a random number?
It's random, right? Yeah, you'd think it would be a round number. Yep. And then there's the Vegeta quote. It's under 9,000. And I think you had a fact. You had a fact about this, didn't you, Jeremy? I think.
Yeah. So actually, in the original version, he says it's over 8,000.
Oh, right, which is interesting because he was probably talking about Photoshop.
Yeah. In the English dub, they thought that the mouth movements looked better if it said it's over 9,000, but the original version is over 8,000.
Wow.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
The mouth movements are so limited.
I know, it's literally just up and down, right? Like, how do they feel? Like, no, that looks like an 8, not a 9.
Wow.
Feel like the Dragon Ball Z translation team kind of dropped the ball after this season, though, right? Like, they kind of went, why do we try so hard? People on Namek are just like, open and close, and that's it.
Yeah.
I knew there was a fact about it, but I couldn't remember it, so I thought I'd include that. 8,000 apparently. There you go. Which version of Photoshop introduced the healing brush tool?
Well, the spot and the healing, did they come together?
It's a good question that I don't know the answer to.
Even if you told me, it wouldn't have helped me because I'm just saying yes.
Well, then I'll say yes. Okay. Give everyone a chance to have a guess. Let's see. Photoshop 7.0. Yep.
What year was that?
March 2002.
2002. Oh, okay.
Yep. Photoshop 7 dropped in March.
So
2002.
CS was after version 5, 6, 7.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
All right.
All right. Another tool question. What tool is represented by an icon of a magnifying glass? And I'm only giving you 10 seconds on this one. I shuffled them at one point and then I had to like reorder them. Oh, sorry, what was that, Joey?
No, I was like, it's like you have to give us some freebies so we don't end on 0 points.
There was a couple of freebies in there. Yeah, this is a disappointed dad. If you didn't get it right, because of course magnifying glasses zoom in pretty much everything. It's like a universal icon now at this stage. But yeah, we wanted to make sure if someone was struggling, they could get a couple of points on the board. So, what does Photoshop mean when used as a verb in pop culture? To create a new image, to digitally edit or manipulate an image, to apply a filter. There you go, Joy. Or to save a file.
Thank you. Another freebie.
It should be. Before I started working at Adobe, I heard that like people at Adobe apparently hated the word photoshopped, and then I found out that wasn't true. So, yeah, it is to digitally edit or manipulate an image. In The Office, you know this scene. So, this is my favorite. If you haven't seen The Office, like it's so good. He's like, I'm a bit of a master of Photoshop, and the more you look at it, the worse it gets. It's so great.
You know, in China, because people use face filters all the time. So some of the girls who have, I don't know, social followings sometimes would like Photoshop their own face, or they use filters for their own face, and then they'll circulate this image of a group photo so everyone has a turn. But in the chat, they'll just be like, hey, can you PS this yourself? And then send it back before I publish.
Oh, wow.
So in the chat, they just say PS because it's Photoshopped.
Oh, wow. Photoshop's the shorthand version.
Yeah, for editing your images.
Wow. That's amazing. Do they end up looking like this? Is it like just people like taking shots with different light and angles and lenses and stuff?
I think like, you know, the photos where like the girls look really unreal, like they're just like everyone's perfect.
Yeah.
Those are the special ones.
Right. Yeah. Okay, I get that for sure. When I was looking for this, Photoshop's actually mentioned twice in The Office, both by Michael. Here, when Michael photoshopped the whole group because they couldn't get the shot, but also Michael photoshops himself into his girlfriend's vacation photo. If you might remember that one as well. So yeah, photoshopping something and photoshopped and stuff was mentioned in The Office twice.
I feel like there should be like a Photoshop movement where people take real photos and like edit them to make them look like they're poorly photoshopped.
Dude, I had the same thought with AI stuff, because remember the first generations of AI? I'm like, it would be quite interesting if you could like make sculpture artwork or even digital artwork where you're trying to mimic that as a movement. Like maybe we're too close to it at the moment, but I feel like that would be amazing. Like almost as an optical illusion, like the extra hand coming out and all that stuff.
It actually takes
I
a fair
actually
bit of
kept a lot of
skill.
my AI images that turned out funny. Like that's a bit odd because you're not going to get them anymore.
Yeah, exactly. So there you go. It is part of pop culture. What is the default resolution of a new Photoshop document in pixels per inch? So if you start a new Photoshop file, is it 72, 300, 240, or 90? And everyone's looking at me, so I think everyone might know the answer. I went to all the effort of blurring this top image, which I don't...
Should have put it in Firefly and just like generate 300 pixels sitting in an inch.
Right, see what happened. I ran out of time like to sit there and like go through everything, so there was like I had to go like manual for a while. Yes, so it's 72.
What?
Yeah, surprising. Unless you've changed it, maybe you changed it sometime back in the day. But yeah, if you try to start a new file, it'll be 72, which is typically screen resolution. As you can see, I reverted to some stock photography as we went through. What famous software did Adobe acquire in 2005 that later merged with Photoshop? PaintShop Pro, Macromedia, Corel Draw, and Winamp. Yeah, okay, everyone's I think got that one. Macromedia. So the creators of Flash and Director and many others. My story with Macromedia was, I think I mentioned before that I was really terrible at Photoshop in design school. I was really good at Flash and I was really good at Director, and I was pretty decent at Quark, and all of those pieces of software eventually ended up in the trash can. So it was a good investment of time to get really good at the tools. I think Director was pitched to us as this is the software that everyone will need to know if you're going to create DVD interfaces.
Oh.
So you know when you plug a DVD in
man.
and like all the things slide in at different times and everything? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I felt like that was Quark Express as well. It was like, you need to know Quark Express.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See you later.
Yeah. I came into
Express was a
school.
minefield as well.
Yeah. And it was crazy expensive, I think, for the time as well, Quark.
Yeah.
Like I think that was like the InDesign kind of came in and kind of cut its grass there. But yeah, it was when I was in design school, they were telling us, well, if you graduated today, you'd have to learn Quark to work in print. And they're like, but it looks like everyone's going to move to InDesign, this Adobe thing. So you better learn both. So that was really nice thing to do in school. They're like totally different the ways that they were built. So, where are we? 15, yeah. But good old Flash.
I built my first website in Dreamweaver. It was an absolute horror show.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Like my first like portfolio website, I think, was in Dreamweaver. Yeah.
Yeah. Where there's just no like standards of user interface design back then either.
And
It's
there's
like
just, like buttons everywhere.
a home button somewhere, I think, was the main thing. You just had to have a home button.
And
Like
an
a picture
enter
of
button,
that.
remember? Like you get to the landing pages, there's an enter button.
Yeah, there's like a landing page. It's like animated in or something. Like
Yeah.
Oh
Remember,
my
you can add all these things to like make it fancy. The things that like followed your mouse around and like.
Oh yes. Yeah. I just remember there was no like, oh, the menu goes here and this goes here. Like it was just, you could just have stuff all over the shop. You go to a website and just be like, no idea what I'm supposed to be doing here. Good times.
I feel like it's also back in now.
It's back in, yeah. Like,
Yeah, like that look where you like it doesn't feel comfortable.
In some places, it never really left.
yeah. All right.
Looking at you, Amazon.
Yeah. What famous phrase appears in Photoshop's toolbar when you hold down Alt and click the flyout menu? Photoshop magic, feather to zero, young Padawan. It's over 9,000 and the force is strong with this tool.
Does that actually happen?
Yeah, what is this?
I have never heard of this.
I'm just
Okay.
gonna. Have you seen this, Flynn, or is this a made-up question?
So I'm going to answer it because no one would really know it. And I didn't have a picture of it because there's a picture of a dog. So there's a whole bunch of articles that mention this. And there were a lot of Easter eggs. So there's a couple of pages that reference this and a couple of other kind of Easter eggs from kind of back in the day. So I'm thinking it's an older version. I couldn't find a screenshot of it, but I've seen quite a lot of like references to it as one of those things. And I kept it in because there's a handful of them that refer to like Star Wars and Star Trek. And if you're a developer in like the late 80s and early 90s, you're probably a massive nerd and into that stuff. So I kept it in because I just thought that's exactly something that they might do. So
Yeah.
That seems like a lawsuit waiting to happen, though.
which is why it may have been scrubbed from the internet, except for this slideshow. So yeah, you're right. Maybe let's change page. That's a very good point, Jeremy. Maybe that's why I couldn't find it. What year did Photoshop? We're getting towards the end here now, guys, as well. So, but what year did Photoshop introduce? What year did Adobe introduce Photoshop as a subscription service under Creative Cloud? So, I wonder if we're guessing or not. Here we go.
Oh,
It's 2013. Who feels old?
that was a guess.
I was like, wow, it's more than 20 years.
That hurt because I remember very well feeling like an adult when that happened, and yeah, that was quite a long time ago. What was the first version of Photoshop available for both Windows and Mac?
Taking shots in the dark here.
Yeah, some of them are a bit. It's a bit like that. Yeah, exactly. Photoshop 2.5. It was big year. I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston, Achy Breaky Heart, and Jump by Criss Cross were all on the Billboard charts.
Wow.
So was it only on Windows first or only on Mac first?
It was on Mac. It was on Mac first. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Surprising.
There you go. Which keyboard shortcut temporarily switches your brush to an eyedropper to pick a color? I think this is a This is a gimme. Maybe I should have started with the gimmies at the start, with like ending with like, what does Photoshop's first letter? Yeah, it is Alt. Very useful tip though, if you don't know that. Last one or second last one here. So, what version of Photoshop introduced layers? I showed someone else this, and they were like, Photoshop at one point didn't have layers.
Yeah.
What?
Which is kind of crazy to think about. But I did know that just because some of the people that have been using Photoshop for a long time, I can't remember if it was Jesus Ramirez or someone like that, was telling me about it, that when the AI announcement stuff was happening at Max within Photoshop and what could happen, they're like, the crowd reaction was very similar to the one I was at, where they announced layers.
Wow.
And I was like, what? So yeah.
That's a guess.
All right, let's see how we go.
Man.
3.0. And yeah, look at these splash screens. They're like,
Yeah. Look how many layers we used on that.
at least 2 layers.
Yeah.
Showing up.
I didn't write down the year, but I did write down my fun fact, which were the top songs at the time. Was I'll Remember by Madonna, Always by Bon Jovi, and Can You Feel the Love Tonight by Elton John.
Wow.
So there we go. So maybe 2002, maybe it might have been.
I feel like now I want like plugins. I want Adobe to release plugins to make my Photoshop look like older versions of.
Yeah,
Like,
that'll be cool.
like Winamp, like you download all the
like all the
skins.
The
skins.
skins? Yeah, skins would be super cool.
I want to reskin my Photoshop to that.
Skins would be cool. Oh, look at the, like in this image as well, they have the push button. Like it looks like a physical button's being pushed down, like Minesweeper. Like if that top right one, like that takes you way back.
Yeah.
Yeah, there must be one more. Okay, so this is actually the last. This is the last one. It's a bit of a fun one, I think. So John Knoll, one of the original creators of Photoshop, worked as visual effects supervisor on what movie? So we got The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, or Star Trek Generations.
Thrown me with the dinosaurs. I'm looking for Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I think there was some version control issues with my export because there was different options for the A, B, C, and D in the other version that I had. So let's see what the answer I've got here.
All of them.
All of them.
Oh man. Good question. That's a
But you all get a point for it because no matter what you answered, it was all correct, not all incorrect. Let me just see. I had my little fun fact, but I thought this was pretty cool. Yeah, so I ended up going to Industrial Light and Magic, and was on all the Star Wars prequels as visual effects supervisor and Star Trek Generations, First Contact, and Pirates of the Caribbean series.
Wow.
That whole series. So, yeah, thought that was a fun fact. But that does take us to the end of
All right.
our little quiz, our little happy birthday Photoshop quiz show. I hope you enjoyed it, but it'd be interesting to see how you guys went. If you were keeping tabs, like what number you have there. Do you guys have how many you got right?
I thought I would do better. I am ashamed of myself. I got 8 points.
Guys, I did this the wrong way. I did the answers and not the points.
So you wrote the answer.
Yeah. But I'm pretty sure they're all correct. I think I got 21. And bonus points for being enthusiastic. So yeah, that's
+1 to enthusiasm. Okay, cool. Well, the points don't matter and there's no prizes, so that's all good. And Joy, how did you go?
I got 8 points plus 1 bonus point. So I got 9.
All right. Yeah, you got your charisma point as well. Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, yeah, I mean, that is the end of the quiz show. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming along. It was a bit of fun.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing the
Thank
question.
you,
It was
Flynn.
great.
Learned
Thanks.
heaps actually. Is yeah. It's a cool format.
Some fun facts.
Thanks
Yeah,
for
maybe-
reminding us that we were.
Oh, is that what you did? Okay. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I should have been more clear because you
Yeah,
did it right. I
sorry.
just didn't. No, that's good.
That's all right. I still had fun, and it's always a pleasure.
That's awesome. Well, maybe we'll do this format again down the track with different pieces, maybe design trivia or something like that as well. We'll go a bit broad, but But yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for joining. And for those watching as well, live and on demand, thanks for joining us. Let us know if you want to do another quiz show. Maybe we can make it interactive with the audience in some way. That would be cool as well. But yeah, it takes it out. So thanks Dale, thanks Joy, and thanks Jeremy.
Thanks, man.
Thanks,
Thanks,
guys.
all.
Thanks so much.
Bye.